After a long week in a new school, Andrea felt lonely. She had not yet managed to make friends, perhaps because she entered a few months after moving to that city. Her classmates already had organized groups, and none allowed her to integrate. Emilio, who saw the beautiful young girl alone, decided to talk to her. The young boy had liked Andrea since he saw her enter the classroom but had not dared to speak to her. From that day on, Andrea and Emilio became inseparable. They did their homework together. They waited for each other every morning to go to school, and they also accompanied each other on the way out. Both ended up falling in love, so they hurriedly decided to have intimacy for the first time. However, their experience played a trick on them. Neither of them would take care of themselves to prevent pregnancy, and it happened. Andrea got pregnant when she was only 15 years old. She couldn't believe it. She knew her parents would be angry with her. When Andrea's parents found out about the news, they kicked her out of the house. The young girl did nothing but cry. She had nowhere to go, but one of her sisters told her to live in her apartment. The place was small, but it could provide a small space for her and her future baby. Andrea took all her things and ended up leaving with her sister. While there, she picked up the phone to call Emilio, who rushed to her new home to see her. Once there, Andrea told him the news that he would be a father, but Emilio took it quite well. The boy just hugged her and said everything would be fine. He would take care of his child and never leave his sweet princess alone, as he called her. Andrea melted with love, felt safer with her sister and her boyfriend, who, as soon as he could, got a medical appointment to start the obstetric control. Emilio accompanied Andrea to the doctor's office on the day of the appointment. Still, the doctor at the time of the ultrasound would give them excellent news. They were not expecting only one baby, but 3. Emilio began to sweat, trying to assimilate the information. However, when she left the doctor's office, he asked his girlfriend to leave him alone because he had to incorporate everything. From that moment on, Andrea began to feel indifference. Emilio, who now avoided her, did not answer her messages or calls. And every time the young woman went to look for him at his house, he was never there. Andrea felt devastated. How could she support 3 children on her own, she wondered. She insisted many times, but to no avail, so she gave up on pursuing Emilio. One afternoon, while the young girl was passing through the center of a city doing some shopping for her triplets, she saw a couple kissing in the distance. But as she got closer, she realized that it was Emilio and Candy, the most popular girl in the school. Andrea couldn't believe it. She remembered that she still had the keys to Emilio's house, which he had given her, so she could visit him while they were dating. Andrea had left some of her belongings there, and the thought that Candy would enjoy them made her nauseous, so she headed toward the house. Being there, she started to look for her iPod, some books, and shoes, but she heard that someone had arrived, so she went into the closet with her huge belly. When she heard the door of the room, she realized that Emilio and Candy were kissing, and he told her, "I love you, my sweet princess." This was more than Andrea could bear. Her belly began to hurt badly, and a liquid ran down her legs. That young girl came out of the closet complaining of pain while complaining to Emilio about his lack of interest in her triplets. Candy and Emilio jumped in surprise. That boy accused her of being a stalker, threatening to report her to the police, but he couldn't say more. Andrea was writhing in pain, so they had to call 911 urgently. She had to have an emergency cesarean section because the delivery had come early. All 3 babies were born a little premature but were stable. Suddenly, some police officers arrived with the complaint made by Emilio. However, Candy arrived in time to testify and say that Andrea was not a stalker, giving her version of events. Once everything was resolved, Candy apologized to the young mother. She did not know Emilio was expecting triplets and offered to help her with the little ones. From that day on, Andrea and Candy became good friends. Candy helped her young friend with some of the baby's expenses, and Andrea thanked her for her sincere friendship. Thank you for making it this far. Remember to leave us a comment. See you in the next video.